You know the usual salesman spiel? Air conditioning's on the options list, sir. You can get optional coloured bumpers if you like, madam. Options, options, options! Now take this smart car for example. The car itself costs £9,000 with all the additional extras costing £7,000. So that's 16 grand if you want this car fully spec. But for some people, spending money on accessories and add-ons for their car is what life is all about. So I'm here at the Max Power Live event in Birmingham to see what really gets these people revving. Now, £7 grand on optional extras is nothing compared to the money that's been spent on some of the cars in there. But I am a smart chick, and all I want is a detachable roof, which I've got here. It's always interesting to compare an old model with a new one and see what changes have been made from one year to the next. But it's Jeep's 60th birthday, so where did it all start? So this is an original World War II Willys Jeep. The Willys does have, however, some extras that you won't find on today's Jeep, namely a shovel and an axe, just in case things get a little too tough for even a Willys. It's just like somebody's thrown a load of old bed frames and bed skips into a skip and welded a car out of it. Of course, safety isn't what it is now. Apart from being separated by 60 years, the distinctive classic lines of the Willys are clearly echoed in today's newer model. OK, so the new one is bigger, but they still share the same muscle grille, round headlights and exposed hinges that give both that all-American rugged appeal. So, can Jeeps today do the same job as they did 60 years ago on the battlefield? Right then, so let's see if this Jeep's cut out to be car crazy! It might be quite basic by modern day standards. I mean, it's got wind-up windows, but compared to something 50 years ago, it's quite sophisticated. And it's got a 4-litre engine, so there's no shortage of power when you need it. OK, so the first handy tip. Forget the Paris-Dakar. The trick is to drive as slowly as possible, but as fast as necessary. Driving as slowly as possible helps reduce the damage to the ground, which keeps in with the conservation issues, and it also increases your safety. In a manual, it's really important that once you've changed gear, you take your foot off the clutch and put it on the floor. This reduces the risk of you dropping the clutch involuntarily and putting the vehicle into freefall. It's really important that you keep your fingers and thumbs on the outside rim of the steering wheel. This keeps them out of danger because if you're going to hit a rock or a tree stump, the force of the spin of the wheel could easily break your thumbs if they're in the wrong place. Sometimes when you're driving off-road, it's very difficult to judge where you're going to be going if you look through the windscreen. However, if you lean out the window, you can see the front tyres and you can quite clearly point the vehicle in the direction you really want to be going. The chassis is pretty rugged and the axle has a huge amount of articulation, and of course it has a reasonably sophisticated four-wheel drive system. Now it might look like a bit of a poser's car. It is an image thing. Let's face it, most of us aren't going to take this thing off-road Davy Crockett style to hunt for caribou. Well, that said, it's quite competent off-road because it does have all the right tackle to do the job.
So, 60 years on and the Jeep hasn't lost any of its rugged appeal, and I'm sure that if it was called into battle, it could still tackle the job. So I salute my old friend the Jeep. Carry on, Lieutenant.
Well, as you can see, I've left the car behind and I've caught the tube to get to the next location. Oh, here we are. Bulger, we were already at our location, the London Transport Museum. Now, I know cars are great, but most people use public transport to get around, especially the tube. And I bet not many of you know how it started. Want to know? Follow me. Go on, lads, put your back into it. Now, this is how the tunnel was first built. First of all, they had to dig down deep enough to avoid all the cables and the sewage pipes. And then, once the hole was there, they had to reinforce it with all these metal structures, each one weighing over 250 kilograms. Now, I know what you're thinking, it must have been hard work. And where's the train going to fit? Well, I'll show you. Well, here we are in another cutaway section of the tunnel. And as you can see, it was a pretty snug fit. Wouldn't want to get stuck in it, but it was a very efficient way of building. But they didn't always build like that. The Metropolitan line of the Underground was built using the cut and cover method, which basically means digging a huge hole and then covering it up. Sometimes the foundations of the building would get a little bit dodgy. They'd all collapse and fall into the ground. Help, 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 oh my God. Got no imagination. I'm gonna go and have some fun. Nice. Oh no, somebody help me, what's that? Oh, train coming. Ah! Ah! Well, we've seen how they built tubes, but before that, we used to run these lovely beauties. No petrol, just loads of hay. And you know what? We haven't had much progress. 100 years ago, the average speed of traffic in London was 11 miles an hour. Do you know what it is now? 11 miles an hour. It's a horse's life. After the horses came the buses. Faster than the horses, but not quite as fast as a tube. And of course, the red bus is a symbol of London worldwide. I wonder what we'd make of them if they're all that colour. Nah, stick to red. Oh, got something else to show you. Next time you're in the pub and some greasy medallion man's boasting about the size of his engine, just remember this, 8.8 litre diesel engine. It's enough to power a bus, let alone a Toyota Supra. Yeah! So whether you get the bus to school or the tube to work. Or maybe you're a high-flying exec and you've had your Merc clamped and you have to take the horse to work. In fact, whatever mode of transport you use, you'll find its roots here at the London Transport Museum. So for those of you who thought about taking your Mercedes on a track day, this guy's done it a little bit differently and taken his 1964 Mercedes to Rockingham. How did you get on today?
We came second from last.
Oh, did you? I shouldn't have asked that. Why was that? Was it something to do with drive error or car error?
No, I think we were up against, there's some big machinery out here today. There's some really good machinery.
What were you up against then?
Ford Galaxies, Mustangs. There was Mustangs 1, 2 and 3. Really quick cars, you know, sort of 5-litre jobs and great. It was really good. It was a good day. This is a 3-litre,
right.
You know, sort of, and it's a very heavy car as well. You know, it's a saloon. It's sort of. They raced in the 60s. They actually did race, and they were more successful with rallying in the 60s. But they did race them, and seasons, so they were they were a lot of fun. It's
So
good
how
fun
long
to
have
go.
you been involved in doing racing?
I started racing about 8, 9 years ago, and my dream was always to do historics because I've always been into Mercedes. So it was a passion that started. This took 3 years to build this car.
Really?
Yeah, it's quite a lot.
So
of,
you bought it from like a basic chassis?
It was a
or
basic,
something?
yeah. It was just an ordinary car, ordinary saloon car. It was an MOT failure. It was been in a barn for about 8, 9 years.
For those of you with failed MOTs, there is hope for us all.
Exactly, absolutely. And it took 3 years to build. We did it all to FIA specification. That's sort of European racing, you know. So again, we're slightly underpowered compared to what's out there.
Yeah.
But it's good fun. It's great. There's not many of them racing. There's 2 that I know of, mine and another one.
Yeah,
And this is the only one in England. Yeah. So it's really good. It's good fun.
You don't have to tell me that. I know I haven't had a go yet.
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah,
One day.
absolutely.
Well, finally here. Been stuck in traffic all morning. Can't wait to meet Carl, the instructor, and find out what car we're driving. Look at this. This could be the one. Carl?
Jane, well done, you've made it.
Morning.
Nice to meet you. The traffic was quite bad, but you're here now. That's the important thing. You ready to go?
Yes, can we go? Can we go?
Almost. First of all, we need some safety gear.
Well, this is all right, isn't it?
That is fantastic.
Jeans, quite tough.
Pretty fantastic, but we need something a little bit more protective.
Okay.
Let's get this all just now. Let's go. Right, Jane, there's your overalls.
Thank you.
Off you go and get changed then. I can't go with you.
Ta-da!
You look ready and raring.
Thank you.
Next stage for us though, before we go trackside, we've got to give you some racecraft. Some
Well, can't we just drive now?
racing skills. We're going to do this properly.
Oh, Carl, I want to drive the car.
We're going to do this properly.
Come on then.
Driving on track, you have a very different set of priorities to when you're on the road.
Right.
On the road, you drive quite defensively. Here, you've got to drive a little bit aggressively. You've got to keep control of the cart, but you want to maximise your speed at all times. You want to get as good exit speed as possible from the corners. You want to be keeping your lap times low. To do that, you need to be consistent out in the circuit. On a corner, you've got a corner here. If you're coming in from this direction, you're looking to brake before the corner. Your speed, your entry speed is going to be too high to take the corner. So you need to brake. You come in on the outside, braking on the way in, turning in at this point here. From that point in there, taking a nice smooth line through the corner. A lot of people tend to go in way too hard and then end up spinning out over here. Don't want to do that. Brake. Make sure you brake lots for the corner. If you've got a complicated corner, long like this, you want to take what's called a constant radius. So from the point where you turn in, you're nice and smooth all the way through, right to the outside again. So you're starting in on the outside, braking in a straight line. Very, very important. You've got to brake in a straight line. Otherwise, you'll be off spinning out in the corner. Braking in a straight line, nice and smooth. And when you get halfway through the corner, you want to be accelerating all the way out to get a good exit speed. That's what you're looking for.
I've been stuck in London all morning to get here. I've been weaving through the traffic, and what do I have to do? Sit down and listen to all this. I don't want to listen to any more. I don't want to see another bleeding drawing. I just want a car. Give me a car now. Please. What about if I smile?
That's the theory. If you put that into practice, you're going to be a lot smoother and a lot better out on the circuit.
Okay, now can we please get in the car?
Cars. Who said anything about cars? We're using carts.
What? Okay, so I'm a bit disappointed we're not on a full-size racetrack, but these carts look pretty quick. Well, I guess if you can't get to Brands Hatch or Silverstone, or you can't afford it, then this is a much cheaper alternative, and it's in the centre of London. alright, it might be a smooth track, but it still looks pretty dangerous. I've got to give it a go. That is fantastic. I can't wait
They
to have
are
a go.
very quick. You don't need cars to go quick. This is what we're doing today.
I'm a bit worried I'm not going to fit in there, you know.
Don't
Bit of a
worry.
big girl, in case you hadn't noticed.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Pop both feet straight in the seat.
Are you sure?
Yep. And then lower yourself
Wedge
down.
myself in.
Now you look perfect in there, Jane.
Thank you.
You ready and raring? Today you've got powering you the 200cc 4-stroke engine.
Right.
Controls in front of you. You've got the steering wheel. Very acute. Only quarter turn, lock to lock, so don't yank at the steering wheel. Pedals, you've got 2 pedals. Do totally different things. Only use 1 pedal at a time. Right is go, left is stop.
Okay.
You're ready to go.
Superb.
Last thing to mention is, of course, helmet and gloves. Lights out. Away you go.
Look at the speed. I know you're only going about 30, 40 miles an hour maximum, but I'm telling you now, while you're down here, it feels amazing. Well,
Not bad, not bad.
what do you mean not
But
bad?
I'm not sure you were watching or listening when we were having a chat upstairs.
I was listening. I was taking notes up here. I think I was really good, and I
Well,
enjoyed it. And
I'm going to give you a quick demonstration now. The guy's ready to go, and he's going to show you what you should have been doing. He's braking a lot more on the way into the corners, and you won't see the back end of the car sliding around as he drives out, because it's all about getting good speed out the corner, and to do that you've got to be putting as much power down as you can do, just like that.
I see what you mean. It is a bit smoother than what I was doing.
It is a bit smoother, but it's all time and experience. We've done thousands of laps here, and we're very, very familiar with the circuit and the karts. It is all about experience. Okay?
So is karting a really big thing in London? Do you have like corporate events, party atmosphere?
It's very popular in London. A lot of corporate entertainment goes on, and a lot of the big city companies like to bring their staff down here just to show them how much good fun it is.
So you have like group bookings with a party atmosphere, and you can all...
Yeah, we do a lot of showbiz. There's loads of stuff like that. It makes it a real party atmosphere.
Showbiz?
Showbiz.
So who have you had in here then?
Oh, name dropping, where we could say about Tom Cruise has been
Really?
down, and his friends. Robbie Williams is here on a regular basis. S Club 7, loads of stuff.
These are all
They're here
little
all the
people
time.
that find it easier to get in the seats than
They
I
are
do.
all small people. Weight is a big factor, but experience is the biggest one.
So how long have you been working here for then?
I've been working here 4 years, and been in the industry a lot longer than that, and karting most of my life.
So presuming you get really good at go-karting, where would you then go on career-wise?
You could go into eventually Formula One, like stars like Jenson Button and people like that. From karting, you normally go on to the big circuits, Brands Hatch, Silverstone, stuff like that, into single-seaters, Formula 3000, then if you're good enough, getting on to Formula One.
Well, it sounds like you know an awful lot about it, but I haven't seen you drive one of these once a day. So what's the score? Are you going to get in one?
That sounds like a challenge.
It certainly is.
Okay, let's go.
I think I'm getting worse because I'm getting really excited about catching them up. Now I'm getting the hang of it, mate. Oh, yes. What's the trick is getting the corners right so that you don't waste any time skidding. Come on then, mate, I'm right behind you. Well, this is fantastic fun. I think I've been well and truly thrashed by the true professional here, but like on Gladiators, I'm not used to getting defeated, and I am going to make sure that I get to grips with this. You ready for another challenge, mate?
Okay.
You can put those gloves back on, you know. So we're in the garage of our resident expert, Tom. Good morning, Tom.
Morning, Jane. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. A little chilly.
Yes, a little fresh.
So I've just won the lottery.
Yep.
I've got loads of money to play with. What do you suggest I buy?
Excellent. You're going to join the Millionaires Club, and that's a club full of Porsches and Ferraris, but you've got to get something a little bit different. And I think today the Porsche we've got, the 959, is really going to cut the mustard down at the golf club. Very limited run, late 80s, over 200 miles an hour, four-wheel drive, a rare beast, and a good-looking car as well, I think.
Very smart. So who do you know that's bought one of these?
Well, probably more from your sort of background. We've got Daley Thompson, very famous first owner of one of these. And shortly after they were launched in about 87, fetching upwards of $1 million for one of these. Now obviously down to a palatable $100,000.
Oh,
A pickle. If you're a millionaire, I think you can buy anything, but can you buy it well? And I think this is a car for £100,000 that's seriously good value.
this is quite a special car. Isn't
Very
it?
special.
That's what you're saying.
I think obviously the ability to, while you're supping your dry martini, to explain that your Porsche goes over 200 miles an hour, I think that cuts the mustard.
And something that I'm personally quite interested in is boot space. So, you know, my luggage, my training gear, stuff like that.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of luggage space in the front, not too much, because you've got four-wheel drive, so you've got a bit of drive going to the front wheels. In the back though, two little seats, they fold down, you've got a lovely rack there, a couple of squashy sports bags.
Excellent, thanks very much. So can we have a little drive?
Yes, I think we'll pop off now.